We have the right to explore ourselves, every single part of ourselves. This week I was going to record a video about listening to your intuition, but I also went to a Tantra Festival over the weekend, and when I asked on Instagram whether or not you would like me to share my experiences with you about my Tantra Festival, because let me tell you, whew, it was something that I have never experienced before and I had no idea what I was getting into. You guys voted overwhelmingly for the Tantra Festival video, and so here it is. Alright, let me tell you about this Tantra Festival while I walk down to Nimbin to pick up my mail and see if I can book a venue for my first Tantra workshop. I didn't really feel comfortable filming in the Tantra Festival because I feel like anything to do with sex, there's a lot of people go there for different reasons, you know, and I wouldn't feel comfortable if someone filmed me in what is a quite vulnerable and raw event and opens a lot of people up, and people share things and do things that maybe they wouldn't want other people to know about in real life. So you guys are just gonna have to trust me on this. I just didn't really feel comfortable filming or trying to sneak in footage or anything like that, because we're all on separate paths and sex is still very taboo, unfortunately, and we don't talk about it, so hope you understand. I've never been to a Tantra Festival before, so it was quite a new experience for me with the things that I saw and did and the activities that I participated in. I've done Tantra in the past in different workshops, but this one was definitely these ones definitely got me out of my comfort zone and made me practice my barriers a lot as well. It was a 3-day festival, and the first day I got there a little bit late, missed the opening ceremony, blah 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 blah. But the first workshop that I did go into was called Wheel of Consent, where we really delved deep into setting boundaries, learning how to say no. And this is actually something that I really love about Tantra, is because the teachings that you learn in Tantra really emphasize the fact that you need to set your boundaries, you need to know yourself and what is right for you and what isn't, and you need to be able to say no if something doesn't feel right for you. And this is a core teaching towards having not only a better, more fulfilling life and more integrity in yourself, but also better sex as well. Knowing your limits, knowing your boundaries is super important for a great sex life and for really good experiences sexually. However, saying that, just on a side note, I think we've all been through periods in our life where we didn't have set boundaries, but not having those set boundaries also helps teach us what we did and didn't want as well. It's funny because I'm the type of person where you can't tell me what to do. Peer pressure does not work on me. I always have to make my own mind up, and if you don't believe me, ask my mum. Mummy, have I ever been a person that is easy to be told what to do?
God, no.
Why?
Because you always do opposite.
So, there you go. I'm a stubborn little shit. But in the past, I have had problems with setting boundaries and giving into pressure in a sexual context, because I think I have had a belief that my pleasure and what I want doesn't matter as much as my sexual partner's needs and wants. So that is something that I've had to come to terms with and heal within myself. And part of this healing includes setting strong boundaries and knowing what I do and do not want in a sexual relationship and just in relationships in general. Going back to the festival, the first activity was definitely about setting boundaries, and that set the tone for the whole weekend. It was very important to have those basics down pat and just to have a reminder just in regards to how important setting boundaries were. That night we did different activities. One of those activities was to wear a blindfold and no, go away, waspy. One of the activities was to wear a blindfold, and different people would come up to you and dance with you. And this was a really interesting activity for me, where I had a really big breakthrough. When different men came up to dance with me and I couldn't see them, with the majority of them I felt like it was a very sexual energy that I experienced with them. But then there was one man in particular that I don't know who the hell it was, but he really slowed me down and took me out of like that more animalistic sexual energy, slowed me down and just nourished me. He kissed my hands beautifully and was so loving and so nourishing with his touch that it made me realize that I had previously had this expectation in my head that all men wanted something for me, and that really set the tone for the rest of the weekend, where I focused more on attracting people and having experiences that were more nourishing and beautiful rather than just centered around sex. And that definitely healed that part of me where previously I had experienced men just wanting, you know, stuff from me from a sexual context. That experience really shocked me in a way and kind of went, oh, you can have beautiful, nourishing contact with a man where there are no expectations of sex or flirting or anything sexually charged, which was really, really beautiful. And I'm forever grateful to whoever this was for giving me this experience, because it was definitely a part of me that I needed to feel, that I needed to awaken within me, and I needed to heal. So that was an incredible healing from a personal perspective that I experienced. And I just send so much love to the person that helped me experience that. Just sitting here at the Nimbin Community Centre waiting for the office ladies to arrive so I can talk to them about booking a room for my first Tantra workshop. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they arrive soon. I think they might be out for lunch. So this is the space that I'm wanting to book for my first workshop. It's actually, I think it's used for teaching expectant mothers about pregnancy and all that, which I think ties in with Tantra really nicely. So just spoke to the lady, got my form. Hopefully it all aligns and I can book it soon and do my first workshop. I'm so excited. The second day of the festival was very exciting indeed. The first workshop, I didn't like the speaker that much, and so I walked out of it. The second workshop was coming to your senses with a teacher called Stephanie Phillips, who was my favorite teacher of the whole festival. This workshop included being split up into two groups, writing down your boundaries, what you did and did not want to have done to you. And then group A would lie down on the ground and group B would do all sorts of pleasurable things to group A. It was just really about being able to feel different senses in your body, smell, taste, touch, and all sorts of things. That was an interesting workshop because some people don't have that many boundaries, and there was nudity and there was genital stimulation. There were all sorts of things in that workshop, and it was just interesting to watch some of it. I personally paired myself up with a lovely man and got to practice some of my Tantra techniques as well, and just I was all about the nourishment and creating connection, and that was kind of what I wanted to give in that space. So it was also knowing what you are willing to do and not willing to do, as well as the pleasure giver, but also paying attention to their energy and what is causing them to experience beautiful things in that moment as well. When it came to my turn to be the receiver, my boundaries were very strict, probably stricter than most people's, and it was literally talk to me before doing anything, thank you. Because I didn't know who was going to be touching me, and to me that matters, and their intention for touch. I didn't know what they were going to do to me, so I was just like, you know, just ask. And that's part of Tantra also, is knowing what your limits are, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, just being able to ask for what you want to. So I practiced that with my boundary setting, and I just had such a beautiful, nourishing experience, a beautiful full body massage from a lovely man who was there, and at the end he just said it was such a romantic experience and he wouldn't have wanted to try anything else in that kind of a environment anyway. So we both had a beautiful experience. I gazed with each other afterwards and said thank you through our eyes for the magnificent experience that we got to have and share. And then we went off on our way to the next workshop. The next workshop was a kissing workshop. The teacher was teaching us about the energetics that go into touch and kissing, and we got to practice different techniques on different people, and that was really interesting. It was quite a fun class, kissing different people and just experiencing how much energy and intention you can put into a kiss and different kissing techniques. Although I must say I'm a pretty good kisser anyway. That night time there was a tantric temple night. Now I've never heard of tantric temple nights before, so this was a very new experience for me, but everyone was frantically getting ready for this experience. I didn't really do anything much to get ready for it because I was kind of like, I'm just going to observe and see what this is about mainly, and just participate in things that I do want to participate in and excuse myself with the things that I didn't want to participate in. And this was a really interesting experience for me because in temple nights, pretty much anything goes as long as both parties consent to it and they're being safe and not harming each other. The only strict rule was no sexual penetration, so no penetration of the penis into the vagina, essentially, or probably butthole as well. But everything else, if parties were willing to experience it, kind of was up to them, because it was kind of an area to explore your sexual desires and needs. And it was interesting doing some of the activities, especially because I was feeling very raw open from the first day because I was experiencing so many different things, and from the workshops that day as well. I wasn't really that interested in engaging with people that day. I was also on my first day of menstruating, so women out there who know about this, sometimes you can feel a bit like open and raw and channeling that Kali goddess energy where you kind of like rah. That was me. So I really decided to practice my boundaries that night, and the temple organizers also were very good in the sense that we did practices in regards to setting boundaries and different exercises on setting boundaries and saying no as well. So that was a common theme. They also talked about safety, declaring if you have any STDs, making sure you don't spread anything around. There were gloves, tissues, and disinfectant, hand sanitizer there as well, in case, you know, people did touch different bodily fluids or anything like that. So it was a relatively safe space to just explore. And it was interesting because at first, you know, I was a little bit nervous and scared, didn't know what to expect. So for me, it was very much about setting boundaries, and also I got into Tantra for more of a spiritual reason, not so much to explore my sexuality in that kind of a scenario, because I feel like I've done a lot of exploring of my sexuality, but you know, some people don't have the opportunity to experience that, and so it's a really cool setting to be able to experience different things, because it is a relatively safe environment. You are encouraged to set strong boundaries as well, and you're responsible for your own boundaries. That is the most important thing. So you shouldn't be doing anything that you don't feel comfortable with. Saying that, I felt like there was quite a bit of pressure to participate in certain activities, like even when we were put in circles, males in one circle and females in the inner circle, then you were face to face with a one-on-one. And when you were told to do certain activities like hug or just touch each other, or like just, you know, eye gaze with each other in that one-on-one scenario, there can be quite a bit of pressure to actually go through with it. But I was just not interested, so I decided to exercise my boundaries, and I eye gazed with about 4 men in a row, and just like sent them love through my eyes, and did a namaste sign so that I could respectfully decline any of the activities. And it was interesting to see how hurt some men looked, and some of them would keep looking away from my eyes, confused as to why I wasn't engaging in the activities. And I got a little bit self-conscious and started to question myself at that stage, because there was that pressure. Everyone around us was engaging in the activities, but I wasn't really interested in it. So then I went to a next man, and it was interesting. I felt the need to explain why I wanted to just hold space. And so I said to him, look, I'm really sorry, I just want to hold space because I'm on my first day of menstruating, and he stopped me and he said, no, you have nothing to apologize. You tell me what you want to do, and if you want to hold space, I will hold space for you. You don't have to explain yourself, because your no just means no, and that's it. It was such a beautiful experience, because we just stood there with the namaste and giving each other love through our eyes, and just eye gazing the shit out of each other, which was such a beautiful experience. And him just holding space for me when I really just needed that nurturing and just that space holding was really, really beautiful, and an experience that I won't forget, because it showed me the difference between someone who is really confident in themselves and knows that a rejection isn't necessarily about them, and between the people that have certain expectations when they go into these environments and expect that something is going to happen, even in the form of touch or hugs or anything like that. And the people that were getting hurt before, personally, I felt didn't feel as confident in themselves, even though they may have been going into Tantra sessions for a very long time and exercising different things. There was still a sense of pressure and expectation for me to participate in certain activities from them, but from this one particular person, he had no expectations, and he didn't need me to explain, because he was so centered and confident in himself. And that was really refreshing to see the difference between people who are confident and solid within themselves and those that aren't. And when it came to my turn to touch him, I said, what would you like me to do? Because I was willing, because he held space for me when I needed that. I was willing to just give him some pleasure in the form of touch and nourishment, because of how grateful I was for him telling me that I didn't need to explain myself when I didn't want to participate in an activity. So when it came to him, he simply said, you can do whatever you want to me as long as you feel comfortable with it. And that to me just like burst my heart open. I had so much love and gratitude for him that I just nourished his head and just patted his hair, gave him kisses on the cheeks, and just really sent so much love and nourishment to him, just because he was so solid within himself that he was happy to do whatever I wanted to do, because in a sense he knew that it's a two-way game and we both need to be on the same plane of thought. And you know, like, it was just beautiful. Then another experience that I had, I was starting to feel a little bit more confident, an exercise where we had to turn into animals, emotions and be more animalistic with a partner. And this, at first I was like, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But my partner got super into it and I was just like, grah. And then he was getting more into it and then I was like, grah? And getting more into it. And finally, like, this animal came out of me and he tried to dominate me, but I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm going to dominate you. And we were just like butting heads against each other, just going grah and growling, and just this animal side came out of us, and it was actually quite a turn on. So that was an interesting experience to see what you can get out of yourself with the right partner. After that, I kind of was not that interested in participating in any more of the activities, but I was interested in watching and just being a bird and just watching what other people got up to. You know, there were orgasms happening around me, people in different groups, nakedness, all sorts of things. But it was a beautiful experience. Again, like, some people need this kind of sexual healing in a safe space, I guess, and you know, everyone gets healing and learns and grows from different experiences. So I don't have any judgment towards anyone that does whatever they want to do in those situations. I'm not one to judge. I don't know what background they have, what their perspective is, and what they need to get out of this situation. So it's just really nice seeing different people participate in different situations. Will I ever do some of the things that other people did? I don't know. Maybe with right circumstances, if I feel like it's the right thing for me, maybe I would. I don't know. I'm not gonna say never. I just don't know. But in that situation, I knew that it was my first time at a Tantra Festival and that I was cracked wide open from different activities, and I just didn't want to put any pressure on myself to do something that I might regret later when I, you know, start to come down from the experience of the festival. So for me, it was a good, like, I practiced my boundaries and I practiced nourishment and creating connection with people that didn't necessarily involve that animalistic, erotic, sexual energy. That's not why I got into Tantra necessarily, although I know that it's a part of it and I'm happy to explore that part. I love exploring different parts of myself, but from a sense of what Tantra means to me, it's more of a sacred spiritual experience, and one that helps you grow within yourself and have a better life in general, because Tantra for me isn't just sexual, it actually encompasses all parts of your life. The third day of the festival was actually my favorite day because I felt like the workshops that I attended went from purely going from the animalistic root chakra kind of energy to lifting the energy throughout the chakras and throughout the body and going to more of a spiritual practice, I guess. And that's kind of the Tantra that I am really excited about teaching, how it applies to all areas of our lives and not just, you know, sex and sexuality. So the third day gave me some of the biggest breakthroughs in terms of some of the things. I unblocked a few things that were sitting in me, and now that a few days has gone by, I really do feel different in myself, a little bit more confident, a little bit more open, and just have a better understanding about things in my life, which is really cool. Please subscribe to the channel. If you do have any other questions about the festival, please pop them down in the comment section below, and I'm happy to jump on every now and then and answer them, or create a new video. Birdies, shushies, I'm recording. Yeah, just pop them in the comment section below if you have anything that's come up for you, any questions that you might have. Just let me know and I'll pop in every few days and just check on the comments and answer as well.